welcome to the Cosmic Sister Talks. Yay!
Hello.
So here is Diana and Noemie. We are part of the Cosmic Sister Project. We are co-founder of the Cosmic Sister Community Project and all of this. And today we want to talk about self-love.
Venus Day.
Venus Day, because today is Friday, so we wanted to have a talk, conversation, and some insight and sharing about what is self-love for us, and also then for you.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so yeah, let's take a moment. Maybe do you want to introduce yourself quickly, Diana? What is your story with self-love, and then you can say a little bit about you.
My story with self-love. Wow. So self-love has been like the topic of my life in a way, because I was always looking for love since I remember myself, but it was always external. And then one day, when I was in my first ayahuasca ceremony, I received this message that it's not about them, it's about you. So then I realized that I was looking for things outside of me when in fact, of course, it was all about me. And I remember that back then I was in love with this guy, and during the journey, every time like this guy shows up in front of me, I was introducing myself to him. Hello, nice to meet you, I'm Diana. Hello, nice to meet you, I'm Diana. And this story was repeating itself many times. And this was, I already knew before, but this was like the confrontation with, okay, this is your journey of self-love. So this was not so far ago. It was nearly 3 years ago. And since then, it's been my big work to learn the meaning of self-love and create this self-love for myself, create these practices, nourish myself, the part of the beauty, because then I could go into astrology and how my Venus is in Scorpio and so much more focused on what's internal than what's external. And it's been a big practice for me to come to the external as well, to the practical aspect of self-love.
Yeah. So when you say your Venus in Scorpio, can you tell a little bit more to the people listening to us? Like, what does it, like the Venus in astrology is like the planet that show the love aspect, right?
Yes, so Venus represents relationships, all the relationships we have, our relationship with people, but also our relationship with ourselves, with pleasure, with money, with everything. So Venus is the relational aspect, and Scorpio, it's an archetype of transformation. It's a deep energy that goes deep into the shadows, so there is not so much light, and it's very transformative, very intense, very internal. So the processes were always much more internal, and my connection with beauty was much more internal than external. So I was very detached from everything outside, but of course that made me also detached from my goddess energy. And that's how the self-love came into my life and what came to teach me. And what about you?
Thank you for sharing that. Okay. Now your goddess is back, right? She's there. I feel her so often.
Yes, now she is here. Nice. Very pleasant.
Good. Thank you. Yeah, it's a long journey for everyone. So, okay, my journey with self-love. As a child, I don't really remember being so self-aware somehow. I remember like when I was in secondary school, like when I was like 10, 13, some of my friends were asking a lot of questions about like relationship and I don't know, I didn't really understood the whole thing. I was just like living my life without being so self-aware. That's why I find it funny when I became a psychologist, because it was so far away from who I was as a child. I was just living my life, and then but then with time I wanted to understand who am I fully, and so I did a psychology study. Not for that. At first I didn't understand that it was leading me this and there and why I was doing it. But then after my master's degree, I really wanted to like travel to understand who am I. And so I arrived in Copenhagen, the love island, like based on like quartz, rose, crystal. Like if you haven't been there.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a portal.
Wow.
And so I arrived there to do like bio development kind of like training. So to get to people for them to dance. So it's just like I didn't really understood the whole thing behind. Like I didn't consciously know. So I arrived there, and then we do all these self-development things and all these like spiritual. It's like a whole world appeared. And then the first week, we started to do something like a meditation, and then for the first time, I said I love you to myself.
Wow.
So 2016, yeah, and I started to cry, like wow. I never said that. I never even thought about saying that to myself. I was always looking outside. I had my first partner when I was 16, and then after that, like always in a relationship, but not like looking for it somehow also. And this was a big breakthrough. And since then, it's a journey. And then all the time I feel like I don't love myself enough, or I'm on this journey. And then last year, my mentor, I was crying. I know it's my journey to love myself. It's a big thing for me. And then she said, but you do. Look, you will pay yourself a luxury mentorship. All you've been doing all this year for that, you do love yourself. Otherwise, you will not be there crying about it, you know? And I was like, oh, yes. Because what is self-love? It's also this. So it's not only like, hey, I love myself, blah, blah. You know, it's deep work. I love myself. It's like all of this. And maybe we can talk later. What is self-love? I put that aside and we talk later about this. But yeah, it's a whole journey.
It's being there for yourself in all the times, in all the
situations. Exactly.
Being compassionate.
Compassionate, right?
That's a big one.
Maybe we can now answer this question. What is self-love for you?
Yeah, self-love has a lot to deal with compassion, definitely, since we are there, because it's amazing when it's like all fun and games and we are like, hey, God, this is amazing, I'm so inspired, I love myself, I feel beautiful. But what in the days that it's hard and that you don't want to get yourself out of the bed, and that you do something that you call a pattern, you go again to the pattern, and that's where self-love comes in. So instead of the thing, I remember myself, I had like a terrible self-talk to myself. Like I was so mean to myself many times. And because, of course, I was not aware. I didn't know what self-love was back then. I didn't love myself enough. And I can see that now. But that's exactly where self-love comes in. So it's when it's hard, it's being your own best friend. I guess this one, when I read this, it was a long time ago, but it kicked me hard. Like how the talk you have with yourself should be as you talk to your best friend, because you will be forever with you while you are here, at least in this body, in this soul, in this body, you will be always with you. And your soul, of course, will be eternal, but yeah, with this physical body, we'll always be together. So why not honoring ourselves and being compassionate? And instead of when you say, oh, there I go again, like, oh, why am I doing this? No, like just give yourself a hug. Give yourself some love. Remember, it's your sister. How would you talk to your sister? So, yeah, for me, this is self-love. Of course, yeah, massages and face masks and beautiful gifts, it's also self-love. But self-love is so much more than what's on the material level for me. It's really holding myself and being with myself for all that it is.
I hear that. And yeah, compassionate and the best friend. And even like there is the best friend part, and lately what I started to like get also is like the best lover. Right? Because the best friend, we started to get them around, right? And then I was like, okay, the best lover.
Interesting.
Like, how can I love myself to the point of when I make love with myself, I am my best lover, and not wanting someone else to be the best lover also, you know? Like, okay, the friend, yeah, of course this is the same. Like, I have all these bad thoughts, like, and we invite you also to, while we talk, to reflect upon yourself, like, am I doing this also? And where can I also maybe be a bit more compassionate with myself? Because yeah, those thoughts come, and sometimes I hear like, it's really really harsh what I say to myself. And yeah, so the self-love, yeah, of course, like as you were saying, and then what I see also, like maybe to put in other words, like there is a sweet love. So yes, like offering the massage, hugging ourselves, and even in the hard moments, when it's hard and we cry and all of this, as you were saying. And I also see this radical love with ourselves. That sometimes when we think about self-love, it's sometimes a little bit too imbalanced in one and the other, and it's like life, it's about finding that balance. Self-love is also like no bullshit, no lying to yourself.
Yeah.
And be like, okay, I don't want to go running, but I know it's going to be good for me. So I have a talk with myself and be like, okay, what's happening? And then you go and you meet your resistance. And you just don't put yourself like kick ass, like, you just, okay, with love, and then you go. Radical honesty with yourself. Radical love is like also this. So finding balance when, okay, make my nervous system, okay, it's not the day. So today it's about like love and massage and caring. But the other day, okay, when it gets a bit like unbalanced, oh no, it's very comfortable. No. Yeah. You go and you show yourself to the world.
So I guess we can also address the importance of self-talk.
Yeah.
On this, no? Yeah. Like how important it is to do this radical self-talk and to check with yourself as if you were checking with someone else.
Yeah, what were you doing yesterday?
Exactly. I guess that could be very interesting to everyone involved to explore, and also for us to remember that every day.
Yeah. So what is your self-love story, and also what is for you self-love? Yeah, tell us. Maybe you have other words or other things to share.
We would love to hear.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah. You can take a moment even to like write down now if you have things that comes, or pause and then make an audio to yourself, or do your own self-talk now. Yeah, another question that was coming to me. Yeah, there was a thing that was coming, but yeah, let's go with this one. That I wanted to ask you is, what is for you? No, maybe who inspired you on your self-love journey?
It's a very interesting question. I don't think there was a specific person that I could look into that I say, oh, this person inspired me. But when you ask me this question, I just remember one friend that I have, that I was living with her 2 years ago. And somehow, like, living with her was really inspiring, because it was during this period that I was starting my self-love journey more actively. And she was doing a lot of movement, she was doing a lot of costume things, and also like feeding herself very well. So I learned a lot during this period. And then also because she was sharing with me these inspiring podcasts, like through her I met Matthias Di Stefano and Blue, and it was transformative to hear those talks back then. But what really inspired me during this time and by her presence was the authenticity aspect, and the importance as well of the authenticity aspect and the playfulness aspect, and to also play with yourself. So because I had the idea before that self-love was more like this specific, more material thing, because that's what it's sold, no? And then through her I could understand how important it was to eat healthy and beautifully, and then I start to create beautiful dishes. And then the fact that she had children, and then the children were in the house, and then we played with the kids, and I guess there I started also to activate more and more and more my inner child. And now I see how important this is, also self-love. To put yourself out there, to be your most authentic self, to play, to be joyful, and in the way to also be fully authentic with the process. And of course, from there, like during these times that when I started to to go to these events like ecstatic dance, and to work in the cacao ceremonies, seeing all these women like also beautiful, like goddesses, and I was like, so far away from that by the time. Like I was so minimalistic and kind of dressing up only in second-hand stores and like not caring so much about my physical aspect. But then when I started to go deeper into the self-love journey, I realized the goddess aspect, and also how important it is to feel beautiful. And then I had this friend, Jade, and we went to festivals together, and then she was always having all these beautiful outfits. So she also, I can say that she also inspired me in this journey, because I was always like, I cannot buy this because then I will not have money for other things. Then she said to me like, no, but you will feel beautiful with that. And then I really saw how beautiful I was. So yeah, it was a full process. A lot of stuff had to be worked through this.
Yeah.
And you?
Nice. Thank you. Wow. Yeah, and you put a lot of insight on that. So yeah, I invite you to reflect on this. Like the word authenticity came a lot. And I think also part of the definition of earlier when you were saying what is self-love, authenticity is like big, like compassionate, best lover, best friend with yourself.
Yes.
And authenticity. Because when we feel authentic, when I feel authentic, I feel so good. And we say, like when we look at the frequencies, authenticity is the highest frequency.
Wow.
And I love, because sometimes I sing this song like, authenticity is the highest frequency.
My friend that also sings that song.
It's me, no?
No, this friend that
really?
inspired me on my self-love journey. Wow.
Wow.
Yes.
God.
Wow.
Yeah, so authenticity is the highest frequency. So that's when we embrace authenticity, there is no question, you know, and then we feel confident, we feel all of this, and this is a journey, right? And also like self-esteem, self-confidence, all of this comes through the journey of self-love. So it's like all integrated, integrated. Integrated. Okay, anyway, you got it. Okay, so yeah, to answer the questions about who inspired me, like at first I was like, what is this question coming from? And then I don't really know what to answer. Then the first person that came was my mom.
Wow.
Yeah, because for me, she was not the opposite of self-love. I will be a bit radical and not true with this, but kind of like not really knowing what was self-love. And as I was sharing with you a few days ago, like my mom at first, when we were talking, how are you? And asking really deep stuff to her, she was crying. Because like, so not considering herself, you know, in the process. So she's like the mom archetype a lot. She's a lot in the mom archetype, giving. But like, who is she? And then this self-love journey was kind of like, whoa, a long journey. And as we started to like embrace ourselves more with my two sisters, like my blood sisters, then we can see that she started also to bloom, and then we kind of like grow together. But I really didn't want to be like her somehow on that level, like at the beginning. That level, I would not say that, but on that, yeah, the place where she was not calling me so much, like not loving herself. I remember when I was very young, seeing herself like in front of the mirror, and be like, oh, I'm too blah blah, I'm too this, and like not enough that, and I was like, okay, and it really had an impact, and I'm kind of like very similar to her, very similar, and people are like, oh, you have the same voice, the same body, blah blah, and then I was like, okay. But I don't want to be like her, because it looks like she's suffering. And I feel, when I look at myself, and I was saying the same thing that she was saying to herself.
Wow.
This is not okay. And then when I started to hug myself, and I love myself, I could not, this was it was not making sense anymore. So then I was like, okay, no, I want to start loving myself. And not through the eyes of others, myself. Of course, like some people inspired me, like some men inspired me because some of the men I met in my life, they were like seeing me for the first time and be like, oh, I love this, you're so beautiful with this. And I was like, oh, really? And so it was beautiful inside that I cherish it, and okay, I take it. And I know it's not, so through their eyes, I could see myself beautiful, but learning also not to be attached. It's like what they see in their eyes is because I'm able to see it too, and it's just not them, it's me. And if I want to take it, I take it. And what I don't want, I don't.
Wow.
And then, of course, all the sisters, as you said, like in the spiritual community, but not only, like this feeling of like, yeah, I want to be beautiful. And the more I was like being me, authentic, and like playing in the wild and then being fully free on the dance floor. It's where I feel the most authentic since I'm young.
Wow.
People coming to me like,
So
Noemie,
beautiful.
you're so, like I told you, right? Like
Yeah,
you're so like beautiful, you're so radiant, you're so confident. And I was like, wow, you don't know what's happening in my head, right? So all of these kind of like all together mirroring each other. And then I was seeing women being confident on other sphere, and then I was inspiring them on others, and then together we grow. So it's like the community feeling is the most inspiring, like on next level, I think. Yeah. And you.
Oh, and you too, of course.
Yeah, we grow together a lot. Yeah.
Wow. That's another journey for another talk.
Oh wow. Okay. So your turn to answer the question. Who inspired you on the journey? Do you have names that comes or images that comes to you? And please share to us or share to the community, your friend. Take some time to talk about it. It's very inspiring to hear each other.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
We are looking forward for your sharing.
Yeah.
At least I am.
Okay. What else? Are we complete? No, I had another question. Do you have something else?
Not like that.
Okay. So the last question, maybe to wrap up, was like, yeah, I don't know the word exactly I want to use, but like, what do you want to tell them, or if someone is asking you about self-love, is there one specific thing that you want to tell people about self-love? I don't know. Recommendation is not really the thing, but like, yeah, recommendation or advice, but I don't really like these words. Like, what do you want to give about this now?
So I guess, yeah, it's been covered in this talk, but like if I could resume it, I would say the importance of the self-talk, like addressing the importance of the self-talk, the compassion aspect as well. I find it really, really interesting and not interesting that I want to say, like essential. Yeah, essential. And of course, yeah, going to the place that self-love, it's a lifestyle. Self-love is not just something you do one day. It's not a routine or a therapy you do. Self-love, it's a way of life. And self-love, it's taking care of yourself and remembering. For me, this is really a game changer. When I think that I am the only one that will always be with me, how can I not love myself? So then I feel that just shows the importance of self-love, because I want my life to be pacific in a way, to be in peace with myself. So if I do not enjoy my own company, if I don't know who I am, how can I be happy with myself? So that's the journey of self-love. It's like learning who you are, going on a trip with yourself, learning what you love, learning how your body works, talking to yourself, like all these things. For me, this is self-love. It's a full relationship. It's the relationship that will always be there. And yeah, it's the number one. It's for life. So learning about yourself, definitely. That's self-love. And again, the talk as your best friend, talk as your best lover, whatever, talk to your beloved, because that's who you are. And yeah,
and act.
Of course, it's you. It's it's so beautiful at the same time. I find this really, really beautiful, because it's you. It's your persona. And okay, what am I going to do now? I remember the other day I was in the car, and I was singing very happy in the car, and I was thinking to myself, talking to myself, and I was saying, oh my God, I love to be with myself. I should take myself more on going to places. Why did I forget, And yeah, this is self-love. For me.
Wow. So, when you talk like that, I don't know about you, but, because they talk about love and you feel so like in love with yourself. I feel in love with you, like I feel all this love, I feel like, it's pouring. See, it's so beautiful. When we love ourselves, we're so magnetic. And I'm like, there is so much beauty irradiating out of you when you talk about it. It's so beautiful, and this is self-love. This is the power of love. Self-love is a thing, and it's come from there to like irradiate like this. But it's so powerful. Thank you for showing that like straight here, like the power of self-love, because like
Wow.
yeah.
Thank you for asking. Yeah. And what about you?
Oh wow, I'm so I'm high on love. That's it. Okay. Oh my god, I feel it so much in my body. Okay, this is the juiciness coming. Okay. Yeah. So I guess maybe it's this I want to share to you then. Experiment. Yeah. One thing about self-love is about experimenting and feeling. Allow yourself to feel. Now I feel the love when she talks, and I feel it, and it's going everywhere in my body, and I feel the pleasure of looking at her being in love and feeling myself, and suddenly this rush, like not rush, but like this
Rash.
no rashes. No. Maybe that's why I had rashes last time. I was way too in love.
Oh my god,
This I don't know the name, like this
rush.
a rush.
Yeah.
Rushes.
Yeah,
Rushes of love. So much love. This like flush. Okay, all this love, and then give me a lot of pleasure when I feel love. And that's why also we're magnetic, because we feel the pleasure. For me, and I guess it's like my astro chart is saying a lot about this, but for me pleasure is very important. And when I feel a lot, then I feel like when I allow myself to feel pleasure, it's for me a doorway to feel love and to love myself. When I'm like tack like this with myself, I don't feel pleasure, I feel cut, and I feel I'm like outside of the house, and I don't even know, like I'm almost dissociated, like what's happening in my life, I don't know. And then it's like, come to me, and you see me like that sometimes. I'm like, what's happening? Okay, I'm back. So when it's like I'm inside my body, then I can feel. So presence with yourself. If you just escape out of that side of the house, no love can enter either. So come back to yourself, find practices that help you to do so. And it's like thousands of practices. For me, it's mainly movement. Movement is really my thing. So like going for a walk, meditation, inner movement, yoga, talking with a friend, or stuff of things that put a bit of movement inside myself. So coming back to breath and dance, of course, and singing, art, whatever, all of this is my thing. So find your way, and it keeps evolving. Lately also, started to run. I'm like, okay, good. So coming back to your own presence and experiment. See, okay, maybe this is for me self-love. For a long time, praying was a big thing. I was saying, all these Indian prayers was a big thing for me for self-love. Now I feel, okay, I want to try something else. And this is the thing. And then it keeps changing, and also through experiment, you're like, oh, this is it now. In 5 seconds, maybe it's not going to be it anymore. So when you experiment all of this, that's where you start to know yourself. And then when you meet the people, like all the people I met in my life, through them, I could experiment. What is love? What is the love that I want? And what is like, I think it's love, but actually it's not love. So with like friends, lovers, animals, houses, trees, all of it. What is love, and feel it, experiment it. How when your heart open and contract, and what is then your own self-love also. Because it's like, for me, it's like it's been through the journey with thanks to others, I could see when I was loving myself and not like boundaries and all of this. And
wow, that's a big one.
We didn't mention that, right? But it's like
another topic,
right? But it's self-love is this, where we're talking about the radical love. No, this person is not good for me, and I love you, and that's why I keep you far away from me. And I love myself. That's why I'm not gonna go there anymore. Or if I go, I see and I experiment. And don't be afraid to be hurt. And exactly, because when I see all my journey, and I was reflecting on that today. Wow, I learned so much to the people I met this year that maybe I feel a little bit hurt sometimes, but I love myself so much more now. They open doors and portals in myself. Wow. Right? And the same with like, okay, self-love, like pleasure, when you touch yourself like on a sexual, sensual, or emotional level, experiment. So it feels good or not. Because how can you expect other people to love yourself or to bring you the right thing if you don't yourself?
Wow.
And yeah, talking about that, one thing I want you also to mention, that the best lover, the best friend, for me is also like for the 5 languages of love. I don't know if you know them. Like there is this thing that we say, okay, it's kind of like, it's a bit sometimes I feel superficial when you go deeper. For me, it's more all about presence, but it's kind of like it starts to give a little bit overview of what is love,
the actions, and
so yeah, giving gift to someone, giving providing services, words.
Oh, yeah, words of affirmation.
Word of affirmation, you're amazing.
And
Touch. And then which one did we didn't say? Quality, time, quality.
Yeah.
Quality of presence.
Quality of time. Puts that a little bit
in
the Venus, like but it's 4. So the 4 elements, each one is related to one thing. So the air, like a Venus in air, will be more love expressed through words. Then a Venus in earth will be more through actions. Venus in water will be more through touch.
Wow.
And Venus in fire will be more through let's go on an adventure together.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. Thank you.
Yeah.
So what is your sign? Yeah, so these 5 languages of love is very interesting in relationship, but I realize with myself also, with ourselves. Okay, how do I feel love? So when you touch me, I feel love, like physically. So what am I doing with myself? What am I expecting? Like, why am I always expecting, okay, come touch me, I need to feel love? No, okay, I want to love myself. Like, I want to offer something because I'm looking for love. Okay, what is for me my language of love? Or maybe what in the language of love, what now do I need the most? Because for me at the end, I feel presence is it. So all of this is kind of like makes sense for me. Now I start to get. Before, when I was like receiving services, I'm like, thank you, I don't feel so loved, but I really appreciate. It was not finding that way. Now I see behind, I can look behind. It's okay, I want now to be touched, so I offer that to myself.
Wow.
So yeah, that's a good insight for me.
Yeah, it's a lot what you need in the moment, you know? And definitely, the experimenting.
Yeah, exactly. You try, I want it. No, actually, it's not what I want, and then you can change, and that's fine.
But I want to share that on the other day, you really helped me. Huh? It was last week that I was having a terrible day, and I was like feeling so heavy. Oh my God! And then you just said, like, go do some movement, put this set of this DJ that you love so much, and definitely, it really activated me.
Yeah. So self-love is about reaching out. And then finding the power inside to do the work.
Yeah, sometimes we really need a friend that can remember us.
Love, eh? You did it so many times for me too, eh? Wow, it's very good.
It's the journey. Yeah. Cosmic sister journey.
This is, I think, lately the most self-love practice we opened a lot was giving and receiving. Like receiving the little insight that will put you back on track to breathe, because now we have all the tools inside us. We are quite tooled.
Yeah.
Tooled.
I'm not sure about that word, but
okay, we have some tools.
Yeah.
But then sometimes we get in the blindfold again, like let's go.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you're like and then the friend's like, I'm here. Okay, open your eyes. Come back. Yes, I know. Okay, I will do it. It's hard. Yes, but you can do it. Wow. I'm here. I'm around.
So true.
Yeah.
Wow. It's big healing. Huh?
Yeah. Good.
Oh. Should we hug?
Yeah. Wait, let's go straight. Okay. So, and I think this is it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so too.
Let's take some time to breathe and integrate what has been shared. Wow. Take some time to embrace all the words, but also the healing through the words that we've been sharing.
The energy of love.
Yeah. Yeah, Thank you for being part of this journey with us. Have a good, insightful moment with yourself during the video or after. And remember, compassion, love, fun and experiment. And pleasure, come on!
And pleasure, of course. And then a list of many other things.
Good.
Bye-bye.